Hi, welcome. This video will help you determine if perimenopause has begun because the signs are often not obvious and there's no test to diagnose early perimenopause. Many women go years wondering if shifting hormones are the cause of their random and worrisome changes because the doctor has yet to find a cause for them and they don't really point to anything specific. A recipe for anxiety. If you're one of those ladies wondering if your symptoms point to perimenopause, stick around. I'm going to list 10 signs right now that often indicate that your ovaries are preparing for retirement. Many women associate perimenopause with cycle changes, but the truth is periods are regular in the early stages, and several other signs and symptoms appear first, like absentmindedness. Not the full-blown menopause brain that plagues many of us closer to menopause, a slight brain fog that's just present enough to be inconvenient. You may find yourself setting things down and forgetting where you put them, spacing out on appointments, going to the store for tea and coming back with 20 items, none of which are tea, or remembering just as you're climbing into bed about the 12 things that you meant to do that day but completely and totally forgot about. Little things that are not really a cause for concern, but are not at all like you. You may also notice newly developed clumsiness. It doesn't sound logically connected to hormones, but it's very common in perimenopause and has a tendency to stick around. I became a walking accident when perimenopause started. I bumped into every single door frame, tripped over every piece of furniture and my own 2 feet, smashed my elbow 1,000,001 times, and dropped about 50% of everything I ever held on to. I had the legs of a 10-year-old boy that first year. Changes to concentration, coordination, spatial awareness, and balance are usually to blame. Early signs also include skin changes. If you're noticing that you all of a sudden have the skin of a 13-year-old girl when you haven't seen acne in 35 years, perimenopause may just be creeping in. Dryness and itching are also a possibility. I was convinced that I had scabies, lice, and a rare skin condition at least twice a week. It can be brutal, and if I'm being honest, the itching still bothers me to this day. Number 4 is unprovoked rage. This symptom is a bit unnerving. Being thrown into fits of rage over things that were never bothersome before. Making giant mountains out of tiny little molehills. I could actually feel the intense anger building up in my chest over pretty much nothing. And I knew it was nonsensical, but it still took everything in me to keep my cool. But I'm happy to report that the rage is gone. So for all of you ladies suffering from this particular symptom, hang tight. It's not permanent. Number 5 is new or worsening anxiety. Being stressed or anxious over things that you once did without a thought. I noticed in early perimenopause that I was all of a sudden becoming extremely uncomfortable being in crowded spaces, being left alone, or venturing out alone, which was not at all like me. If you've always been an anxious person, any increases in anxiety or new manifestations of anxiety like OCD or health anxiety may also be the result of the onset of perimenopause. Sleep disturbances also make the list. When hormones begin shifting, sleep can become a real issue. Problems falling asleep and staying asleep, and finding yourself trying to function on far less sleep than you're used to. Many women find that this is the time in their lives when they start clock watching all night and mentally recalculating how much sleep they're going to get at any given moment. I was famous for clock watching, and if I'm being honest, I got incredibly anxious the closer I got to that alarm going off. Number 7 is changes to digestion. Bloating, indigestion, constipation, diarrhea, reactions to food, and reflux can all start to become an issue when perimenopause sneaks in. If you're finding that you're just not digesting food the way you used to, and you're having to live in yoga pants because the bloating is just ridiculous, you may have shifting hormones to blame. Number 8 is mood swings. Most of us associate these manic emotions with perimenopause. When hormones become erratic, our moods usually follow suit. I could run through 5 different emotions in a 15-minute time frame in early perimenopause. Half the time, I didn't know what I was feeling from one moment to the next because I was such a jumble of emotions. If you're bouncing around between moods so frequently that you're seriously wondering what's wrong with you, you may just be perimenopausal. Fatigue is next. It seems logical if you're struggling with insomnia, but fatigue also hits those women still sleeping all night. It's very confusing and concerning when you've slept 8 hours and you're still dragging yourself around like you've been up for 3 days. If your blood work looks good, but you're falling asleep on your feet and you're mentally and physically drained, suspect perimenopause. After you've been noticing these signs for a time, the slight shifts in your cycles usually start sneaking in. Your periods start coming a few days early or late, and your flow changes. Nothing crazy, just enough to leave you wondering what's going on or make you nervous that you just may be pregnant. These slight changes to your monthly cycle are the beginning of the more obvious signs of perimenopause. All of those signs are non-specific, but when they start appearing together, it's a pretty good indication that you've joined the perimenopause club. If you're still unsure, don't worry. There are 90 other possible symptoms, some of which may start slowly appearing until perimenopause becomes much more obvious. Unless, of course, you're one of the blessed few that sail straight through. But most of us are not that fortunate. I have a support group if any of you ladies are interested in connecting with other perimenopausal and postmenopausal women. You'll find the link to that group in the description under this video. Wishing you all health, happiness, and peace of body and mind through your transitions. And I will see you all in the next video. Bye for now.